Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and we have a full house on the show tonight. We've got Kev, we've got Max, we've got Sam to reflect on a comeback win, boys. Aston Villa 3, Crystal Palace 1, and boy, did we leave it late. Lads, how are we feeling today, the day after?
Yeah. Oh well, you said it all there. It was a tense watch on it. For about I'd say 86 minutes. But yeah, all good. Looking forward to diving in.
Nice. Kev, what about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a pretty intense weekend. To be fair, my lad was involved in a 5-4 defeat this morning. So like lots of goals and action. There was some. There was some equally dodgy play and equally brilliant play in that game as well. But yeah, I don't know. I've never seen the like of that at Villa Park. 3 goals in. I should say the last 3 minutes when you look at the clock. But it's actually 3 goals in the last 25 minutes, isn't it? Pretty much the last 20 minutes. Yeah, but such.
Yeah, this injury time business. Yeah, exactly. This injury time business is just. It came in our favour this time round, but it's something to get used to, certainly.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it'll go against us as well at times, for sure.
Yeah. Now, I know I might be pretty laggy. My internet is not amazing at the minute, so just have to bear with me. But, guys, thank you so much for watching. We've got already almost 30 people in the chat. I'll go through comments as soon as possible. We are literally 20 subscribers away from 2,400 on the road to 3K. So please hit that like button. It says at the top of the chat, hit the like button like Jhon Duran hit that thunderbolt yesterday. So do hit the like button, do hit that subscribe button, and help us continue to grow. Max, I'll come to you first, mate. Starting lineup. In terms of kind of going through the match in chronological order. Starting lineup, obviously, I guess the headline was Zaniolo starting. What were your feelings with kind of seeing that lineup at sort of 2 o'clock?
I was quite happy with it, to be fair. I don't know. That was the only change I thought was maybe expected to see him start, because apparently, I didn't watch it, but apparently he was good for Italy over the last week or so for international. So wasn't really surprised. I thought he was all right as well when he came in. Maybe surprised not to see Bailey start, because when he's been playing, he has been all right. But bar that, I think it was pretty standard.
Yeah. And Kev, I think that was your lineup pretty much bang on, wasn't it?
I had Tielemans in for Kamara because.
Yes.
But other than that, yeah, pretty much bang on. I was pleased to see Nicolo Zaniolo. And I like it. Although we didn't sing that weekend. So, Palace were singing it for Super Sam Johnson in goal. And I was like, well, you've nicked our song now, so we can't do it. Even if he scores, you'll think we're copying you. No, it was good to have him in because absolutely, as Max said, I think he did pretty well for Italy. And I think, he's got that kind of physical size. He's got skills. Obviously, we saw glimpses of that. Probably wasn't quite his day. But, and I think the options at centre-half were going to be what they were going to be. And, everything else was probably the only other surprise might be based on the start of the season in terms of output. Maybe Bailey would have been in there, but I'll come on to Bailey a bit more later. You might be surprised by my views on this pod.
And just finally, Sam, just rounding off that starting lineup, and we did touch on this before we started the show. The fact of the matter is that we had a good bench, and we'll come on to this later. But the likes of Tielemans on the bench, Bailey on the bench. Great to see Alex Moreno back, Leander Dendoncker back on the bench. He's got good options, hasn't he? That depth is starting to come through.
Yeah, and it's what we'll need if we're gonna try and hit on all fronts this season. It's so important and so difficult to have quality players in reserve and keep everyone happy, especially at the start of the season where we've not really got going with the Carabao, with the FA Cup, with Europe. It obviously starts next week, so we're just few games here and there. So as the games pick up, we're going to be able to have a bit more rotation and keep everyone happy. But yeah, it's obviously great to have that many names on the bench, but also it's not just a vanity thing. We will talk about it later, but see just how much it can impact a game and the difference between our quality on the bench and Palace's quality, and what that meant for the actual game and the outcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. Loads of comments coming in, so I will go through some as we speak. Lee Evans in the chat. Duran looking like he's channeling Daly and Atkinson so far. Look, if he scores anything like the quality of goals and he started off with a couple of good ones, then that'll be amazing. As I say, hit that like button like it's a Jhon Duran thunderbolt. AVFC US. Dougie never seems to have an off day. And also Tielemans deserves a start. We'll come on to that as well. Gary in the house. Hi guys, great comeback win that, and actually Duran is quite good. Duncan, evening. Great to have you on board, mate. Black Room says Duran scored a filthy goal. Absolutely. Evening, everyone, says Rachel. Good evening to you. Dunk says Tielemans and Duran need to start now going forward. Well, I'm sure we will get into that a little bit later. Weston's in the house. There's no way Durant isn't going to be a cult hero at the Villa. Man, he can't half smack him. Mark's in the house. Evening all. Adamski's in the house as well. And he's also reminding us he's got great internet. Gary said, my phone died after 70 minutes and just didn't think we would score, especially Watkins, who we're going to, I'm sure, talk about. So great relief to see Duran do the business. That pass by Torres and first touch and finish by Diaby for the offside goal, though, such a shame it was chalked off. Yeah. Well, let's touch on that. So first half, Kev, seemed to kind of go the way of sort of last season against Palace. Lots of possession for us, them kind of playing that defensive kind of low block, as people like to say, and aim to kind of frustrate us a little bit, but we were still creating chances.
Yeah, that's exactly how I saw it, to be honest, mate. I thought they were making it difficult to kind of get through. They were playing quite deep. And I was thinking to myself, crikey, like we need to work hard to get through. And then all of a sudden we created a flurry of chances. I was so annoyed. I've got I put Cash in my fantasy league team. I've got Watkins and Diaby. Cash should have scored 2. Watkins should have scored 2. Diaby basically, I thought that was a goal, harsh offside. I could have had 5 goals from 3 players in the first half. But that's the mark of what a decent team has to do now, particularly at home. I think a lot of big teams are going to get teams trying to nick a point away. It's crazy to think that Villa now are in a situation where, with 9 Premier League wins in a row at home, that teams are going to come and think, I might not get much change out of Villa today. Therefore, they're going to play a certain way. And the onus is on us to try and break them down. But you can't say we didn't try and we didn't create chances. And again, we'll talk about the quality of finishing. You obviously referred to getting onto Watkins, but I think Cash has been a bit profligate. But then he's getting in the positions. He scored obviously 2 goals against Burnley. He scored in Europe as well. And there's not many number 2s getting in positions like that for those kind of chances. It's certainly not many fullbacks other than maybe Robertson at the weekend getting a goal. But we should have been probably 2-3 and up should be half time.
100%. And we did hit the back of the net, Max. And as one of the comments alluded to, great pass through, fantastic first touch from Diaby. Lovely finish into the bottom corner, but sadly robbed of his first goal in the Premier League at Villa Park. Possibly even, I think it might have been his first goal at Villa Park.
Yeah, he's just I said it. I think I've said it the last few weeks. He's just a cut above recently. Since he's joined, he's just hit the ground running straight away. And Pau Torres, I know he got almost skinned for their goal, but in terms of his passing and stuff and movement forward, I thought he was different class as well. I think they're both. Obviously Pau Torres had a struggle in recent weeks, but I thought in terms of what he's good at, he showed that off yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, we'll come on. There's a few talking points with certain players. We'll certainly come on to Torres in a little while, and one or two others. But yeah, I guess, Sam, it wouldn't have been, as Kev alluded to there, it wouldn't have been shocking for us to be up, 2 or 3 at half time. And, as transpired at the start of the second half, again, we'll talk in a second, but yeah, we're thinking we haven't put these chances away. There's an opportunity for the opposition here.
Yeah, I think maybe in our WhatsApp group, someone, was it you or George? Someone was like, "Oh, this is a 1-0 smash and grab from Palace." Was that you, Max?
No, it was Rich.
Rich, yeah, Rich, yeah. You were doubting from the first half, so I don't want to hear any of this. Oh, I was always optimistic. Oh, it's none of that.
I certainly wasn't. I know I wasn't.
No, but I think we were. If I'm being honest, even though we, like Kev said, we created loads of good chances, and we'll get on later, I'm sure, to why we're not maybe converting as many as we should. But I don't really think we ever got out of maybe like second or third gear. I think we still had like a few paces to go up, and I think even Unai Emery said after the game, technically we weren't where we need to be. We won that game with heart as opposed to our minds. So yeah, I mean, look, it's one of them. We played well enough against a team like Palace to maybe have a goal or two or even three in the first half, and we're lucky that we were playing against an opponent who kind of ultimately let us get away with that. But yeah, I think there's just so much to excite the Villa fans in that team, and there's just so many different areas we're like, hold on a second, he's pretty good. Oh, he's better than I thought he was. He's doing this differently. He's like, it's just so much to be excited about, and it's one of those games where it sums up being a Villa fan: absolute torture for the majority of the game, and then elation at the end of it. There's no smooth ride. There's no 3-0 up at half time, coast to a finish. It was a Villa win through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, let's get into that second half where we did make it hard for ourselves, Kev, and I talked in the bite-sized preview. I think we mentioned one or two of their kind of danger men in the full match preview. Odsonne Edouard's been on good form since the start of the season. I think 3 goals previous to Saturday in the first 4 games, or 4 or 5 games. I might have had a Carabao Cup game, and Pau Torres gets outstrengthed by Mateta, but puts the ball across. Emi Martinez slips, and Edouard's on hand to knock it in after 47 minutes, and we're thinking, here we go.
Well, I don't think Torres. I don't know how much I think he was at fault for that. I mean, obviously Mateta's an absolute beast, and and it was kind of like 50-50 a little bit, and he just maybe he's slightly faster. Can happen. Probably should have been a bit more cover. I also don't think Martinez slip made much of a difference, because I still think Edouard would have got there first. I mean, Martinez might have been a bit closer, but you'd back him to nick it past him probably in that situation. But it was George who said it. It had 1-0 Palace written all over it. Do you know what it reminded me of as well, particularly in that second half when they started to go down with injuries, clutching their heads when they hurt their knee, clutching the back when they hurt their balls, whatever, something's going on, just time wasted. It reminded me of that Watford game a couple of seasons back when we lost 1-0 at home, and it was like there were players were like rolling off the pitch, rolling off the pitch, and I just thought this has got a lack of quality in our team and some shithousery in their team coming together for a 1-0 home defeat to some team we should be beating. So yeah, at that point I thought it's all over. And when we got to 86 minutes, obviously, I was thinking this is going to be rubbish today. What a rubbish day. And then I was thinking, here's one. I was thinking, right, well, that's it now. We beat a couple of teams we should have beat, but do you know what? Bad performance against Liverpool. Should have been 6 or 7. Newcastle could have been 8 or 9, whatever. Oh my God, we've lost at home to Palace. Watkins has fluffed his lines. Tiedemann looks like he can't be bothered. Kamara's stropping. It looked like he's stropping. We didn't celebrate for the goal. I'm thinking, oh my God, Emery's out the door. It's all gone to shit. This is terrible. And luckily, Mr. Duran sorted it out for me. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, Max, I'll come to you in a minute because I know you were Mr. Positive, but Sam, just everything that Kev says there.
Am I Mr. Negative?
No. Let me finish. Everything that Kev said there, that roller coaster of emotions. You again kind of mentioned it before in your first point earlier. It's true though, isn't it? Like you go through that full roller coaster of emotions. It goes, you miss chance in the first half. You said we haven't really got out of second or third gear where we're still controlling the game. They then score with their first proper chance of the game, and then you're thinking, well, look, they're sitting back. We've got to try and break them down, and we're not that great at doing it. We haven't really come from behind before, and all these thoughts go through your mind, don't they? And it's just that roller coaster of emotion that you go through in a 90-minute or 105-minute football match.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's one of them, and one of the things I will say is, regardless who you're playing in the Premier League, when you miss clear-cut chances, you always wonder if they're going to come back to bite you on the ass. And more often than not, in the Premier League, that's what happens. And we should have buried a few more, and this kind of clinical nature that we need up front. I mean, if we're banking on Matty Cash to score every opportunity that comes his way, and that those are sort of like our best hopes for a goal, then obviously that's going to be an issue. But I think it was a roller coaster, but it was kind of one that we built ourselves, as just as in the way that we played. And I think, like I said, it's a roller coaster because maybe previously you wouldn't expect anything anyway, or you'd go into a game expecting that Villa were going to lose. And I think it's this, we caught something really contagious last year called hope. And it's one of them where we and even worse than hope is expectation, and that's what we had. You go in against Palace at home and you think we have to be battering them, and I think that expectation elevates the anxiety slightly. So you go in there, and as soon as things aren't clicking, you're like, hold on a second, we have to win this. And why do we have to win it? Because we're looking at the top of the table. We don't want to fall too far behind too early. And it's all the reason that there's a roller coaster of emotions is because of the expectation and the pressure that we put on the team to win these types of games. So it was stressful. I personally, I kind of was thinking about the whole time the game was going, about your comments recently about us not maybe, or lacking character when we go behind, struggling when we go behind. But I think our record at Villa Park, what is that now? 10 out of 10 in a row.
10 home wins in a row.
9
in
in
all
the Prem.
competitions. 9 in the Prem. Yeah,
9 in the Prem. I think whilst if that was at Selhurst Park, I've got no expectation, because away from home we still need to find our feet. But at home, yeah, I mean, it's never over till it's over. And I think I was a bit more hopeful when we actually brought a striker on, and I thought that was pretty useful. Little digs there.
No.
a little amuse bouche for what's coming later.
A little palate cleanser. Yeah. Do need to shout out, lads. Stephen Van Leer, who has become an official Villa Park Pod follower by joining as a member.
Stephen.
Fantastic, Stephen. Thank you so much, mate. It's much appreciated. Great to have you on board. We do have membership, like as Stephen said. It's only $1.99 a month to become an official Villa Park Pod follower, and we have members only polls. We have members only competitions as well. So yeah, and obviously you're going to help support the channel. All our content is free, but if you just want to give us that extra little bit of support, then please do become a member. But Max, yeah, onto that kind of, after going 1-0 down in our Villa Park Pod WhatsApp group. Sam, I think was slightly more positive, but you kept the faith, and you were telling us, mostly me, who was like, we're done. We never come from behind. Game over. It's all over. It's all done. You kept the faith, mate. So well done. Where is this newfound faith coming from?
I have no idea. I have no idea where it came from. It was, even my dad was saying, "Why are you so positive?" Because usually I'm the least, the worst. But I don't know. I just thought the first half wasn't. I thought the first half was good. I think I was saying to my dad, I was like, if we get one, I think we'll get 3, we'll get 4. So I think I just clung on to that, and more hope, I think, because I don't think they were very good at all. I think they were pretty awful. Like you said about the Watford game, I thought they were clinging on to everything. Sam Johnson sitting on the floor, rubbing his calves for 6 minutes for some reason at the end, which is when we scored. So came back to bite him anyway. But I just thought, I didn't think much about Tielemans, but other than that, I thought everyone was decent. And I don't know why I was positive, but it's worked. So I'll take it for once. Maybe I have to carry on doing it from now on.
Good man. Well, look, you kept us, us maybe feeling that little bit of positivity. So yeah, more the merrier. Keep it up. But let's get into it then. Let's get on to the we missed a fair few chances. I thought we huffed and puffed a little bit once they kind of scored. I know we hit the post. I know there was and it bounced. There was bouncing off Johnston's head. There was a couple of other crosses across the box. But as Lee sums it up here, a moment of magic from Duran saved our blushes. And Duncan says goals change games and Duran scores bangers. Kev, and what an absolute banger it was.
Wow. I mean, what a goal. Out of nothing, really. Another assist for Luca Digne. I'd like to see him do a bit more against some of the big teams. He's a big-time flat-track bully, Digne, but he's got great quality and that left foot puts it in. I mean, it's chest down, absolute confidence. And then, I mean, he's taken the volley so early. It's only just bounced, basically. He's absolutely lashed it in. I've described him as a competition winner a few times lately. I feel, yeah.
I was actually going to pull you up. I'm glad you've said that because you did say that the other week.
I feel like we've won the competition now. Now you put that performance in. Yeah. I feel like we're the competition winners because, look, as I said before, he reminds me of me 7-a-side. Like, why are you shooting from there, you idiot? Like, no chance. And I always thought, is he just a bit raw? I think this performance from me, albeit it's only like another cameo. Sam, you might want to cover your ears now, mate, but I can understand why we got rid of Archer and kept with Duran as the second choice because he's physical. He's obviously strong. He's got just a bit of magic out of nowhere. Great finish against Hibs, obviously that goal. He nearly scored an unbelievable goal last season, didn't he? When he made his
Man City,
smashed it off the start. But he changed the game when he came on, and if he can just get a bit more consistency. This is the first time I've seen him and I thought, wow, he could actually be a weapon in this team. I've got a lot more confidence after that performance because, I mean, Palace didn't know what to do with him. I mean, he was lunging. I mean, it's at one point when he leaped into the air to kind of kick the ball, but makes it away from them. Like, his athleticism is unbelievable. He's clearly a good character. When I see him in a pre-match, he always does a bit of warm up with the mascots, and has a little game with them. And not everyone does that really. He obviously had his banter in the Hibs game when he kind of went to pick the player up and then dissed him. And I do think someone put it in the comments, but I think he's going to become a bit of a cult hero. And also, Sam, you might want to uncover your ears now if you can hear what I'm saying. I think if he keeps that up, he might actually be a real option to start games if Watkins doesn't get his form back.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree, and I think he's got that. I think what he brings, certainly off the bench at the moment, is that little bit of chaos and that little bit of unpredictability. And he allows us to maybe put balls into the box, put balls in behind. And, football hasn't really changed as such, in the last 30, 40, 50 years. If you put a big one up front, he's going to cause damage. You're going to be able to win second balls. You're going to be able to, get up the pitch and cause problems. And especially if he's got good technique as well, which he seems to have. Then he's good. He's going to be effective. Deontay says, "Happy Sunday, everyone. It will be hard to top Duran's goal this season in terms of skill and technique. My favourite Villa goal." But yeah, I guess Sam, just carrying on Duran. What are your thoughts on that in terms of his effectiveness and what he can maybe bring to the team?
Yeah, I think he's. I know you said cover your ears about Cameron Archer, but I kind of get it. He's something different to the option that we have. I don't. Obviously, none of us had seen a lot from him before the start of the season, but he's got 2 Premier League goals in 45 minutes of playing football. He's scored a goal in Europe already. He's I think just before his goal, he actually had another volley that was well saved by Sam Johnston. He just, do you know what it is, Rich? You know what it is that I see from Duran that I see missing from us up front, apart from the ability to score a goal, is
there's the other one.
It's little amuse bouche for everyone. Go on, I'm drip feeding you. It's his hunger. he seems really hungry, really keen.
Almost like a wolf.
Hungry like the wolf. Yes, Rich. Don't miss these opportunities.
He's I'm sure that's a Duran Duran reference, but I'm not old enough to know them. But
You definitely are, Sam.
fuck off. No, do you know what it is? It's like he's always going towards the ball, and he's like, he's trying to get away from defenders as opposed to just kind of like hovering near them and hoping the ball comes to him. He's just really hungry to prove himself, and he's got that, maybe he lacks that arrogance to think, oh, you know what, I've got goals before the goals will come to me and I'll find them and it will turn on. He's like, if I want something doing, I've got to make it happen. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and you can't argue with what he's done with such little playing time this season. So I mean, I don't know if you boys remember in the WhatsApp group after the game, I started hashtagging Start Duran, and I'm here for it. And I will go into, I'm sure we'll go into Ollie Watkins later, but in all seriousness, I don't see why not. Why wouldn't you take a player who's in form and start them over a player who's out of form?
Yeah, you make a very valid point.
I know I'm saying ridiculous things, but
no, not at all. Not at all. It's about competition, isn't it? But I think Sam makes a great point, Max, that at the moment, Duran, he's got that humility, he's got that hunger, and it seems to be like he's one of those players that we've all seen him in Sunday League or semi-pro or whatever, where the manager can say, right, you've got 15 minutes, go and change the game, son. Go and win the game for us. And he'll just go on and be like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. And he just seems to be that kind of like, I don't know, Tasmanian devil sort of thing. He's just going to go on and just cause absolute madness.
Yeah, I mean, he's different to Watkins. He's big, he's tall, he's physical, he's quick. I just don't want to get too carried away because as we said, like me and Kev last week, calling him a competition winner. Now this week he's
a world beater. Yeah, he's a Ballon d'Or
he's
nominee.
20 goals.
Someone just said he looks like Daly and Atkinson.
Yeah, he's going to be Benteke version 2. I'm just like, just need to keep. He's 19. He scored a really good goal. I won't take that away, but just maybe a step further back than. Well, I still don't see him start in many games. I mean, he might get a start. Maybe. I mean, to be fair, saying that Chelsea away next week could be an ideal option, just to get in people's faces from the start, and then maybe have Watkins come on to. I don't know, but I think he was good when he came on. As I said,
out the oranges.
Yeah, just a little bit more in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't want to get too carried away because, as you say, always seems to happen. As soon as we win a game, someone plays well, they're the best player in the world.
Get carried away, Max. Get carried away, mate. Come
on.
Get
carried away. He's gonna be a Villa hero. Gary says there two Villa heroes in the making with Zaniolo and Duran, hopefully. As I said, Dunk said Duran reminds him of Dalian. We've got loads of comments. I will go through because there's lots about certain players. Aurelio says my Magic 8-Ball says Duran's going to be a beast. Looking forward to it. Well, look, we all hope so. So yeah, I've starred quite a few of the comments, so we'll get onto that. Stephen, in terms of his membership, said Richie's third score prediction win for me deserves a subscription. Thanks. So yeah, I did say 3-1. So yeah, let's talk about the last couple of goals. Obviously, to seal the victory, we got a penalty. Watkins won the penalty. Great ball from Tielemans and Douglas Luiz with supreme confidence slots it home. Kev, 4 goals in a row 4 home goals in a row in the Premier League. First player since Gareth Barry, I think, since 2006. I believe. I don't know if that's like midfielders or like first midfielder or something, but there's some sort of record that Luiz broke. But I mean, he's almost becoming like a real leader in the team, isn't he, at the moment? And I'm all for it at the minute.
Yeah, I think it was for the players that obviously had a whole game, other than obviously the cameo sub of Duran. I think he's best player again. And I've said it for a bit of time now. You know, I've got a lot of time for a lot of our players, but I think Luiz is an absolute class act. And you can see it, even like the way he celebrates and the way way he just carries himself on the pitch. Those errors he was making back in the day, but I can't remember the last time he made a mistake. Luiz. Just quality, and I had absolute confidence he'd score the penalty once the 433-hour review was done, and we finally got confirmed it was a penalty. Alan was hit the screen for crazy. It's supposed to be clear and obvious. If you're there for 4 minutes, it's not clear and obvious, is it? You numpty. Anyway, we won't get into that. We got given a penalty, and I had no doubt he was going to score. No doubt. I mean, Sam, when Watkins is going up there, we're not sure what's happening. So at least that's one thing we're a bit more reassured about. Great penalty, calm. He always seems to put it in the left as well. You think they're having the little water bottles dive to your right, but seems to do the trick. And yeah, like deep into injury time, and we've turned the game around.
Yeah, and talk about that, Sam, in terms of the referee going across to the screen. I mean, usually when a referee goes to the screen, it means he's going to change his mind. But I guess credit to Darren England for sticking to his guns and almost utilising what we think that, or I certainly do, think VAR should be used for. Like where a VAR will say, I think you should go and have a look at it, blah, blah, blah. And then the ref goes, actually, no, I'm going to stick to my decision, not letting VAR referee the game for the ref.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably caveat what I'm going to say next with, if I'm being honest, I don't think it was a penalty. I'm just being honest. I've watched it back like a million times. I think he gets the ball, then he gets Watkins, and he gets more of the ball. I think it was a really good, fair challenge. And
I take your point. I think we would have been really pissed off.
If that had gone against us, we'd have been livid. And I think, I think it was one of them things. I don't think it was a dive. I just think it was he got tackled, and but when he went to the screen, I was like, oh, here we go. He's gonna change his mind, because that's what they always do. And then whilst they were showing the replay, I thought, well, he's gonna change his mind because it's not a penalty. And to my surprise, he said it was, and he came back and he gave us that opportunity. And like Kev said, now we have we have to wait 5-6 minutes. That's a lot of pressure for the penalty taker. And obviously, Dougie knows that he knows he's taking that penalty. If it comes his way, he has to wait 5-6 minutes for that to come. And he's cool as you like. And it's nice to finally have an assured penalty taker. And it was a brilliant penalty. I think even if the keeper had gone to the keeper's right or players left, I'm not sure he would have saved it, because it's a brilliant strike. So yeah, I think it was one of them. We don't get a lot of luck, if I'm being honest. Not many things go our way, so it was just our time, and we'll take it gladly with both hands and move on.
Yeah. Let's round it off then. So Max, the icing on the cake, in the 115th minute or something like that, as you said, Kev, before, was all Crystal Palace is doing, and obviously then going to the screen and all that with the penalty. So it was validated in terms of the amount of time. But icing on the cake, win was sealed. Richard Sutherland's match prediction, score prediction was set up to be correct when Tielemans released Moussa Diaby down the left-hand side, ball crossed in, and Bailey, nice control and a nice finish to seal the victory.
Yeah, I mean, just Diaby again, just perfect. I mean, I will say, I think most Villa fans will agree. I'd imagine I was certain Bailey had screwed himself over taking a touch. I thought he took that touch inside and it just looked like someone was going to get back and it would be cleared or something like that. Can't take it away from me. He just loves scoring at Villa Park. What can he say? But I think everything about it was perfect. The ball to Diaby, the cross was perfect, and then he's just got to put it away. So I think it was ideal as well, because as you were saying about the hope it gets you, it's been the most Villa thing ever for that game to finish 2-2 with them scoring a corner or something in the 90 plus, what was it, 12 or something stupid. So, couldn't ask for really. It was just the ideal thing to do after we scored the second goal. So, it was crazy in Villa Park. I haven't seen anything like that for a long, long time.
Yeah. Any kind of final thoughts, Kev? I'll go through loads of comments in a second, and then we'll talk about individual performances and little things around the general points of the game. But anything else to kind of round off? Brilliant comeback, it's got to be said.
Well, none of us thought it was going to happen when we went 1-0 down. We know the stats on Villa coming from behind. I don't know when the last time was before the last time of November 22 against Brighton, when obviously Ings scored a couple to get an away win. And let's be clear, right? We've gone ahead in a lot of games since then, because obviously since Emery's been in charge. So, we've got to that stat needs to be caveated. It's not like we're going behind every week. But I just want to talk about the character of the team. I think, it does say a lot. And Emery's right. It probably was a bit more heart than head. A bit more lump it in, and see what happens. But, i.e., you've just got to be a bit physical, and Duran did that perfectly. But I think that will do a huge amount for the team, because of fairly comfortable wins. It should have been a more comfortable win, this, with the chances in the first half. But Palace are no mugs. They've got some good players. Obviously, let's be clear as well, they were missing Mark Guéhi. They were missing Lerma, two of their best players. They've obviously got their talisman over the years, Zaha, not there, so they're trying to rebuild after that. I thought Eze was the best player on the pitch. I thought he was brilliant. I thought his touch, what he did, created stuff. I think I would absolutely love him at Villa Park, but I'm sure a lot of other teams better than us would as well. So actually, for what it will do for the team, you can still have team spirit, the way they were, the way they were kind of bonding, the celebrations. You just hope that really starts to build. And look, 9 Premier League home wins in a row, 10 in all competitions. That's a great record now, and it really has become. I don't know how I feel about the word fortress, but it really has become, as they say, a fortress at Villa Park, hasn't it? And that's something we are just not used to as a club.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we need to get used to that. And it's quietly become that. Like, there's not many pundits that say teams aren't going to get a result at Villa Park. There's no one saying that. There's other grounds where people say, oh, no one's going to win there or whatever, but no one's really said it about Villa Park. And 9 home wins in a row in the Premier League, different types of teams as well. We beat the likes of Spurs, we beat Brighton, obviously Palace. So it's not as if we've just flat track bullied it. We've beaten some pretty good teams. So long may it continue. Absolutely. Gary said we're better than these teams, but it was a struggle, to be fair. Michael's in the house. Good evening, Michael. Dunk said, I've been a Villa fan since 1980. Yep, never an easy time. Gary says, all that nonsense with the delayed penalty decision, it was 100% penalty. Was Diaby offside? Yeah, I think it was his knee maybe that was offside.
How can your knee be offside?
I know, exactly. I know.
It's the head of the defender.
Yeah. Letter of the law.
Where's the advantage for the attacker? Sorry. Like,
they draw a line.
This is the Kev rant.
You obviously saw Paul Heckingbottom going for it, right?
Oh God! Oh my! Do you know what? His mouth must be so dry from all that salt. Bloody hell! He had such a bad time.
But I do think he makes a point. If Spurs are doing something, then he has to rechange what he's doing. They go and kick it long.
No. What, you can take 30 seconds for each goal kick when you're 1-0 up? It's nonsense.
Well, his point was around how basically they're messing it all up, aren't they? And I just think all these VAR decisions of what's going on, I think just have daylight. Where's the advantage for the attacker? I
don't like the yellow cards for the time wasting. Like, I actually hate time wasting. Even when Emi Martinez did it last season, or if it's a Villa player, or when Ashley Young used to do it, I've always hated it. So I'm like, I paid good money to watch football, not to watch people sit down and roll around on the floor trying to. You're wasting my time, not everyone else's time. And so I'm all for it, but just add the time on at the end. I don't like these yellow cards for every little bit of time wasting. I think it's a bit silly, personally.
Yeah. Guys, we've got over 90 people watching, which is phenomenal at 10:10 at night. Please do make sure you hit that like button. As I said before at the top of the channel, like Jhon Duran smashed that shot in the other day. So, 91 people watching is fantastic. So thank you for all your support. Do hit that subscribe button. And as I say, hit that like button. We're 20 away from 2,400 subscribers, so phenomenal support to the channel. As Gary has said, you cannot be 100% positive as a Villa fan, just not possible. Michael said it was a fantastic result yesterday, not digging anyone out, but we need to be bastards in front of goal. Michael, so mild-mannered.
Michael's had
enough. Gary said we are where we will probably finish 7th, and a cup win will be perfect. Let's see how it goes. T1 is in the house. Hey everyone, it's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Great to have you in the house, T1. Amazing stuff. Duran is our Colombian Derhammer. And I'll star that one from Duncan as well. Stephen says, Archer, who looks like Emery knew more than us again.
I can't.
Well, look, we'll see. John says Duran is currently a raw version of Benteke. He's also intelligent enough to be an absolute nuisance in the 18-yard box. And Michael said, I love Duran. He really has something special about him. T-Win said, I'm great. Loving on the Villa more by the minute. Brilliant. Dunk says Duran, a future talent. Weston said, love Duran interaction with the crowd as well. Always getting everyone going in the stands. Love him living the dream. Absolutely. And Adamski said he reminds him of Benteke. Gary said he's not a starter yet as his fitness is still not yet there. So Watkins will keep starting, unfortunately.
Sam's
yeah.
Sam Turner again.
Sam is back, says Nigel. And great to have you in the house as well, Nigel. Rachel said that Duran just takes a chance. It's that youthful exuberance. It's a balance of tempering, but keeping it going.
Can I say something about Duran very quickly as well? This is a bit crass as well, so I hope there's no kids watching it. But Duran's got big balls, but not because of his goal. Someone needs to get him some biking shorts or something, because when he slid on the ground, his shorts came up. And I'm telling you, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It was some, like, I don't know if like the scrunchie that he had that was keeping everything together like fell apart or whatever, but that was not appropriate for children. kids in the front at the bottom.
Embarrassing every dad in every bloke in the crowd, basically.
Oh, honestly, guys were like, Jesus Christ. They weren't even clapping for the goal. They were just
Rich, we've just lost 5 viewers in literally the space of like...
I know. Sam, you're banned.
I'm turning this much off right now.
Bit of blue for dads. Bit of blue. Gary said we've done the Duran back catalogue. Yeah, we have. I think Sam's just added another spice to it, though, to be fair. Saint to Selher said, gotta say, as a Palace fan, Duran's goal was a beauty to watch. Much love from all of us at the Eagle-Eyed Football Crew. Cheers, boys. And yeah, as Kev said, Eze, a fantastic player. And I'm sure you guys will be fine this season in terms of winning games and causing teams problems. Dean Averis in the house says nothing to lose by playing Duran. People forget that Tammy was pretty much back in the door before he got injured, so Emery was going to replace him. Gary seems to say we seem to be okay until we play someone with a plan. I'll come to that in a second. Saint of Selhurst also said, I reckon you guys have a very good chance against Chelsea. Cannot wait to see the Villa in the Conference League. Really Random Reviews is in the house. Great to have you in, mate. Dunk said, Louise, the new penalty king. Saint herself doesn't want to talk about the pen decision. Look, Sam was agreeing with you there. Really Random says, I'm buzzing. Villa come back, correct score prediction, and I hit 1,000 subs today. So amazing week for me. Brilliant, mate. Well done on the subs. That's fantastic. And if anyone can subscribe to you from our channel, that would be great. So, yeah, subscribe to Really Random Reviews. Darren England has an agenda versus Palace. 7 times he has screwed Palace. Oh, dear. I agree with me, says Really Random. So glad the ref stuck to it. Must be one of the only examples. Rach said it was very pre-VAR, stuck with the ref's decision, rightly or wrongly. So yeah, some really interesting comments. So just in terms of some of the kind of more general points, I think for me the first one I wanted to kind of cover was the fact that obviously we came back from being a goal down, which is great. Kinds of answers that kind of character, more so for the players that they know that they can do it. But I really think that part of it was because, or the most of it was, as John says, the difference is that we now have a manager who can turn things around. The subs were spot on. Look at Duran for Bailey's goal. He pulled back and created space for Bailey. But the general point, Sam, is that the substitutions and the fact that he's making the substitutions. So one, he's got the depth on the bench. He's got different options. And 2, he's prepared to make them. Which is different to kind of previous managers that we've had that have kind of been like paint by numbers substitutions. And it's really the subs that are key in the games where you need to get something out of it. And this is kind of hopefully a sign of things to come.
Yeah, I think it's two things, a few things for me. Firstly is the timing of the substitutions. I think as soon as Douglas Luiz's penalty goes in, Unai Emery, he shakes his hand for 1 second and he turns around, tells Dendoncker to get on immediately. He knows what he's going to do should that penalty be scored, and he's analysing the game. It's tactics. He's playing chess, not checkers, and he knows what he's doing. The other thing is obviously the depth. We've spoken about it before. We're still lacking in some areas. I know we've still got 2 keepers on the bench, more games than not. But in general, we've got some really, really good talent on that bench, and I think the final thing that I would say is there's competition now, which is it can only force everyone to raise their levels. Like players can do one of 2 things when they're in a squad with a lot of quality. They can either kick up a fuss and say, I want to leave, I want to go somewhere, I'm going to play football, I can't be sitting on the bench, or they're going to raise their levels and fight for their place, right? So at the moment, the ones with the best character are going to raise their levels, they're going to fight for their place. And even, Kev, you may want to cover your ears, but even since the start of the season, Bailey, I think whenever he's come on, bar the games where we got battered and everyone was shit, I think Bailey's, he's done good stuff. He seems to be playing with a bit of flair. I think he knows now that it's not just, I'll go on the bench for a bit, but I know no one's really good enough to take my place, so I know I'll be back in a couple of games. He knows he has to perform, and you've got a player like Moussa Diaby, who for me is just fantastic, man. He's so good. And yeah, so I just think that there's so much quality in the team. Everyone's raising their levels, and that's how you win games like this with subs.
Yeah. Anything from you boys, Max, Kev, about the kind of impact and the sort of substitutions or character that is kind of generating for Villa to kind of come back from sort of adversity, so to speak?
Well, we were able to almost go for it, pretty much all out attack, with the team still staying as it was, kind of thing. With Tielemans coming on for Kamara, he was more offensive, but at the same time, if they were going forward, he was still adept. And then Bailey for McGinn, that also just meant we could go forward more smoothly, I felt, because McGinn was kind of doing his usual, just like he was kind of everywhere, as he always is. But then as soon as Bailey came on, you almost had to you had 4 up front, and that just made different things possible. I think it was, I don't think Tielemans was particularly great considering all his moaning, but he's got the assist for the penalty, so can't complain too much. There's also a comment from someone that says, "Is Sam small or is he really far away?" Just made me laugh.
I'm far away because I'm not on a laptop. I'm on a computer.
Just like the idea that you're really that small.
I don't know. You might be a giant, Gary. I'm 5'10", so I don't know if that's small nowadays, but I don't think so. I'm pretty big around the middle as well. So.
Actually, Kev, I wanted to ask you a question just regarding that, in terms of, I know a few people have mentioned Kamara maybe wasn't, I don't know whether he was his most effective, but and also when he was on the bench, whatever, maybe he wasn't jumping up celebrating. McGinn was taken off as well. But is it the fact that now we've got these players, we've got effective players to come off the bench, that it's more of a squad situation, and one, like, as supporters, we're going to have to get used to, maybe our favourite, so to speak, not necessarily starting, but also, like, just be patient in a game. And, we've lost games in the 90th minute, and we've shown that we can win games now off the back of that. We're going to have to get used to this kind of, like, substitutions having real impacts.
I think it's exactly that. We've never, as Villa fans, thought of it as being really a squad game. Going back to your previous point, the paint by numbers substitutions. Well, when you've basically got not great options on the bench, is it going to be Trezeguet or Traore, or is it going to be El Ghazi or Traore? Like, what are you going to do? Like, let's bring Bjorn Engels on. That'll change the game. You're not going to do a fat lot. Now we've got real quality we can bring on, effective players, and actually this season, Kamara, I don't think has been at his best. I think McGinn's been quiet in the 2 away defeats. I think he's been really quiet, and I don't think he was particularly great at the weekend either. Normally, his best player, usually on the pitch alongside, like, a Luiz maybe, or Diaby this season. But I thought he was quiet. But it just goes to show, when you have key players. Ming is what a key player is for us. McGinn wasn't particularly great. Watkins' form's terrible, and yet we still got a 3-1 win. So yeah, and look, all the subs contributed. You know, Duran obviously got the goal. I mean, Sam said it as well. He had a really good shot actually before that Johnson saved, like a half volley. Tielemans, I thought, looked really off it, and then what a great pass through. To be fair to Watkins, he did take the pass into himself pretty well, turned, you know, kind of got it out of his feet, and then obviously there was the decision. And let's come on to it, Sam. I had my ears uncovered for that bit, mate, because I'm going to say for the first time, get ready for this, right? Because there's going to be some surprise people out there. I thought Bailey was really good on Saturday, and it's the first time I've watched him, and I've thought,
clip that, Max. Clip that, Max.
Yeah, I thought to myself, like, lovely little like run against some people, and it didn't look like he fluked it, like he dragged it one way, nicked it past the other side. I thought he looked composed for his finish. He controlled it. I thought it was the right thing to do, you know, because he had time to do it. And I just thought he looked decent, and I thought he looked like the kind of player he could be. Maybe his position is to be an impact sub. Maybe that's where he'll be better at, because you know, maybe when you're going for a game and you're not going to be defensive, because defensively he lacks. But yeah, I was actually like really at the end of the game. I remember thinking to myself, "Am I bipolar? Like, what's going on?" Like,
yeah, I think he likes playing with Diaby. I think he's got.
Yeah, I was just exactly going to say that.
He's got an existing relationship with him. He's played with him before. You could see it for his goal. You know, Diaby's on that left side, and he knows where Bailey's going to be. Bailey knows he can expect the ball from him. Do you know what I mean? He knows Diaby's not going to cut back and then play it back, and it's going to go around the houses. He knows that Diaby's going to find him. And I think it's just he's got a mate there. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes that helps. But I think he. I agree. I was with you last season as well, Kev. Maybe not as vehemently as you, but I thought Bailey wasn't good enough at times, and now, yeah, he's. I think he doesn't need to be an impact sub. I think he can, through that rotation, there are going to be games that suit him better, and there's going to be games that aren't going to suit him. And I think he can be a real asset to the squad, which we'll need. We need him.
Yeah, and also listen to this. Like credit to him. He's top scorer this season. He's got 4 goals in all comps. Ollie, Jhon, Matty, Douglas have got 3. But Bailey's stats as well: 86% shot accuracy, which is the best out of everyone. Goal conversion, he's got the best as well. He's had 7 shots. He scored 6 goals. 87 minutes per goal, only better by Duran with 46 minutes per goal. So, I mean, impressive stats. And if he can just, again, get a bit more consistency, then, you know, Zaniolo's obviously competing for that position as well. Yeah, it was really good to see. What surprised me was players that are, you know, let's be clear, I've absolutely slighted Bailey in recent times, and for good reason.
No, never.
Wildly inconsistent. I've called Duran a competition winner, and like they were like key to us winning the match. So yeah, apologies lads if you're watching. Apologies Craig Butler if you're watching. Yeah, your boy is possibly the best player in the world.
Oh, we do owe Craig Butler an apology, can we? Jesus,
yeah,
giving him some shit.
Oh, bloody hell! Yeah, we need a few more performances yet, but we've gone back to 103 viewers, but at one point we lost. We did go from 100 to 99. I think we might have lost Gary for a bit because he just fainted when you were praising Leon.
Can't believe it.
But yeah, I mean, I think I agree with pretty much everything that you boys have said on Leon Bailey.
Sorry, I just read one of the comments.
Which one?
Aaron's.
The latest one.
Aaron
is back. Right, we'll talk about him in a minute. We can't hold it any longer, but I just want to point on the Bailey situation. Deontay said the Bailey and Diaby connection that worked so well at Leverkusen is now cooking at Villa. Weston said, "Did you see how Diaby celebrated Bailey's goal?" And yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Like he's got a friend in terms of, they seem to have a good partnership. And they know where each other's going to run, which helps. Always options for players on the ball. We talked about a couple of years back, or when Emery first came in last season with previously McGinn, his passing was terrible. But then all of a sudden, when Emery comes back in, McGinn's passing is better because he's got options that are closer to him. He can make passes. Now Bailey's got options in terms of someone to play with, someone to kind of work off. He's starting to look a bit better, a bit more confident. And like you said, Kev, the competition, like and the pressure is not necessarily just all on him. You've got Zaniolo, you've got Diaby, you've got Watkins, you've got Duran, you've got Jacob Ramsey to come back. You've got Matty Cash who's contributing with goals. You know, you've got players here who through our system, but also through their own ability, can also score goals. So I think all of that kind of links together and means that we're getting a better, hopefully, and more consistent or more effectively on Bailey. He just needs to do it in away games now, or one or two of the away games. But I certainly think, you know, the likes of, you know, say we were playing a Man City, or say we were playing a United or Liverpool, you know, particularly at Villa Park, let's say, to bring him on with 20 minutes to go in the form that he's in now would be kind of dangerous for these teams, you know, especially if they've had to face Diaby, or they've had to the physicality of a Zaniolo or something, and then you bring in the likes of Duran and Bailey off the bench. I think it'd be really dangerous. So long may it continue. So look, let's address the elephant in the room, because I've starred about 30 comments on it. And I think Duncan said the question. I'll go through loads of the comments.
Is this about Russell Brand?
Yeah. No, let's not get into that.
You built this up so much now. I'm wondering if it's like a real massive story.
It is for Villa fans, and I think it will be for the foreseeable future.
Brand? Have I missed something?
just Google it afterwards.
Yeah, just we won't talk about it on the show. Dunk says, "Will the Watkins fanboy channels in quotes ever accept valid criticism?" So many comments. He also says Watkins is the weak point in the squad currently. Paid through the nose for Dean Smith's favourite Championship player in 2020. What else have we got? Yeah. So I mean, essentially, Sam, I'll come to you first. Obviously, Aaron with his comment. Watkins, he doesn't want Watkins in the team. Only place he can finish is in the bedroom.
Good.
But yeah, what do we do about Ollie Watkins? I've put your message out on it, Kev, you know, the other day in terms of backing him, and we've almost got to back him, and we hoped he would kind of turn it around on Saturday. But like I say, Sam, I'll come to you first. But the way he kind of snatched at that shot, that one-on-one in the first half, just shows like a lack of confidence at the moment. And yeah, I know you said before this will be your last kind of word on him, but where do we stand with Ollie Watkins?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said that this is my last stand on Ollie Watkins about 40 times now, and I'll probably continue to say the same thing. Max, you're probably going to want to clip this at some point as well. Look, I'm going to try and be as reasoned as I can in this, because I've been banging the same drum about Watkins for. I mean, you guys must be so sick when you see my name on a text and Watkins underneath it. You must just ignore it at this point.
I think George is probably
George is
close to leaving the group.
Yeah, but I think this is the point, and let's dissect it properly, and let's try and be reasoned about it. Ollie Watkins has served a purpose at Villa. When he first joined, he matched the talent around him. He was in good company for where he's at as a footballer. I've mentioned this a billion times, but Ollie Watkins is a purple patch player. What I mean by that is he goes through good runs that inevitably end, and that's fine. Everyone has that, but a purple patch for most players is like, oh, you normally score 1 and 2, 1 and 3, and then you go 7 games on the trot scoring a goal. That's what a purple patch is for most people. For Ollie Watkins, a purple patch is the only period in the season where he will get goals. So last season he went from August to January and he scored 1 goal, and then he went on his purple patch. He went on his incredible run. He ended up with 15 goals for the season. Fantastic, brilliant. But then what happened after that is he's now back to a period where he's got 1 goal in 12 games. And I don't care about his hat-trick against Hibs. I'm pretty sure Kev could score a hat-trick against Hibs from what I saw against 2 games against them.
100%.
Yeah. So the question is about Ollie Watkins is he good enough for Aston Villa now, where we want to go, what we want to get to? And I challenge everyone, every Villa fan, to do something crazy and just raise your expectations and your standards a little bit. Everyone's saying, oh, Ollie Watkins is good enough. Oh, he's done decent. Raise your expectations, raise your standards. Say, do you know what? Actually, 1 in 12 isn't good enough. for our only real striker, our only senior striker. Jhon Duran's come in and done well, but he's unproven, he's untested, he's 19 years old, coming from the MLS. He can't be the one we pin all our hopes on. Ollie Watkins is not good enough for Villa where we want to get to. We cannot keep having a striker that only scores for 15, 16 games a season. That's less than half of the games in all the season, and there are so many chances I could talk about. The one-on-one that he missed, the fact that he can't take a penalty, the fact that his first touch is terrible, the fact that Matty Cash got to the byline, crossed the ball in, and Ollie Watkins didn't even slide for it. You can look at his stats. A lot of people say, oh, well, he's a good worker. Well, yesterday he won one ground duel, one aerial duel. He got zero successful dribbles. He got three big chances missed. He is just, if you look at his numbers throughout the game, it's just awful reading. He doesn't provide anything at the moment. It's not like, okay, he's not scoring goals, but he's contributing massively. He's not doing that pressing from the front that he used to, because Unai Emery has specifically told him not to. That's not his job. His job is to score goals. And if his job is to score goals, he doesn't do it. So the obvious question is that everyone asks is well, who else? Okay, fine. Who else? Well, you look at I spoke about Callum Wilson yesterday. He's got 14 goals in 17 Premier League games. Fine. He's at Newcastle. He might not want to come to us, but we can offer him being first choice, which he doesn't have at Newcastle. We can offer him a lot of money. We can compete. We can at least ask the question. And if it's not him, then go to Germany. They have that Victor Boniface 4-in-4. They've got a guy called, I think his name's Giassi. I can't remember where he plays, but he's got 8 goals in 4 games. It's not here. It's not in England where you find Ollie Watkins' replacement. It's abroad. There's talent everywhere. And if anyone tells me that Ollie Watkins is the best that we can do, or that he's fit for purpose for where we're going, they're lying to themselves. And I will say to anyone in this chat who says that Ollie Watkins, I believe in Ollie Watkins, he's going to get 20 goals. Unless you have a gambling addiction or a gambling issue, do me a favor right now and put your money where your mouth is and put 50 quid, 100 quid on Ollie Watkins to get 20 goals a season, because I guarantee you none of you will do it. Not because the issue of, I'm not a bet. It's because he's not going to do it. He's never going to get 20 goals a season for Villa. And I think I saw a comment earlier saying he's as good as he's ever going to be. And that's true. He is as good as last season. He was as good as he could possibly be, and it's still not good enough for where we're going. We're going to lose games because of it. We're going to miss chances. We're going to miss European football. We might miss the Champions League. We only need to finish 5th this season. It's going to cost us so much to keep to this rigid Ollie Watkins defense club. And people say I have an agenda against Ollie Watkins. If he scores 30 goals this season, you'll never hear a peep out of me. But I would argue there's another agenda the opposite way, and a bias of support for Ollie Watkins, because everyone loves him because he's such a good kid and he's such a nice lad. You want him to do well. But I think eventually we're going to have to face up to the fact that 1 in 12 is not good enough. 1 goal between August and December last season wasn't good enough, and it's going to cost us, and he's not good enough.
Wow.
Oh, that's it. Sam is gone. He's done.
Is that a mic drop?
Mic drop.
Right.
I'm taking my ball. I'm going home.
Yeah, let me. I've got so many comments coming in, guys. So I will go through them. So let's just go through. I've starred them all, so they'll all be in slightly different orders. So Kev, Max, I'll come to you guys as well to kind of make your points on it as well. I'll get Sam back in a second. But yeah, Dunk says Watkins is the weak point in the squad currently. Played through the nose for Dean Smith's favourite championship player in 2022. Michael says Watkins will score 20 plus this season. Let's not jump it on him. And John says, I wonder, is Watkins' contract becoming a distraction for him? Just sign it and go on a run, Ollie. So yeah, maybe so. Maybe we'll come to that in a second. What else have we got? Matt C says Watkins has about 55 goals and assists in 120 Prem games. He has his faults, but the disrespect is stupid. John says, Sam, I'll read them all through and then we'll come back to we have to play Watkins into form. When he scores 1, he will go on a scoring streak. Michael, I know,
but then he'll stop and he'll go on another non-scoring streak.
Let me read them out first, then we'll come back. I know a few people have doubts about Watkins, but his presence creates fear in defenses and he creates assists. He will get his shooting boots on, but let's put an arm around him. He needs love. What else we got? Gary says, look, Watkins will never be any better than he is now. Let's sell in January, and remember, he hasn't signed yet. Edie says Watkins was in two minds whether to celebrate or get the ball. Diaby went for the ball too. Winner's mentality. Rachel says Ollie will come good. He always does, but he does need to improve in certain aspects, and that's okay. Villa will create chances, but as I said before, we need to convert, but I believe Watkins will start to bang them in. Rachel also says, I think part of it is pressure, expectation, and lack of confidence. He needs to improve clinically, but he does give a lot to the team and how we play. Adamski says, apparently Gareth called Ollie and told him, although his form is enough to get him in the England squad, he still needs to play for a big club. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Steve says, while Unai still believes in Watkins, us as supporters need to do the same. He obviously a confidence player. Fanboys digging him out every week doesn't help him or us up the Villa. T1 says, to be honest, I don't even know what to say about Watkins. He gets paid for goals, not to run the channels. I don't care what anybody says. He needs to do better for T1. Weston says, let's face it, Watkins isn't top notch, is he? I think that's one part of the jigsaw puzzle we're now missing, and that's a top striker. I reckon our big money signing next summer will go on a striker. Gary said, well said, Sam. Can't go 12 without a goal in the Prem as a striker. It will cost us. Edie says, who do we get in to replace Watkins? Rub says he doesn't score at the moment, but he doesn't have so bad games either. Got the penalty yesterday, hit the bar, which could have been a goal. Don't be unfair. And who's the alternative? Gaz Oaks says Watkins is the third best striker we've had since the Premier League started. These arguments drive me mad. Michael said, I agree, needs to take his chances, but believes he will come good. Gaz also says 2 assists and 2 penalties won this season. How's that not contributing? Wilson is older and not a big enough improvement. What's the point? Blackroom says, when would you get to replace Watkins at the moment? Alan says, Watkins, love him, puts his shift in him at the moment. Don't think he would finish a good dinner. Let's hope he improves. Gaz said there's like 4 players in the last 5 years who's hit 20 goals in the last 5 years. It's a stupid argument. And again, Blackroom says, who do you get to replace?
Can I respond to Gaz, because he's putting about 60 comments there. It's not a stupid argument by stupid people. It's a very valid argument that I've backed up with numbers and statistics and facts. Talk about Ollie Watkins' goal count last season. I don't think he was in the top 10 Premier League goal scorers last year. There were wingers who outscored him. There were Callum Wilson, who came off the bench 20 times and outscored him, got 18 goals last season. Look, let me clarify this. I'm not saying Ollie Watkins is a bad footballer or he's not a Premier League player. He definitely is a Premier League player for a really good mid-table club. He was a great striker for Villa when we got promoted and we were trying to climb our way through the ranks. He was brilliant. He was exactly what no one was complaining about Ollie Watkins then, because he was as good as the players around him. We're seeing the levels and the quality go up. This is not an agenda against Ollie Watkins. I have nothing against him. I wish him all the best. And you know what? My ideal scenario is that a player that we've already got in Ollie Watkins turns consistent and bangs 20 goals a season in. It's not a stupid argument. This is just based in fact. And we have this conversation about Ollie Watkins time and time again because he constantly goes on these runs of not scoring. And it's not, look, George said earlier, it doesn't cost us anything because we're still winning games. Well, it does cost us because we don't win every game. And I'm not saying we should win every game, but let's take the Newcastle game, for example. There were chances in that game. I don't know if you remember in the first half where Ollie Watkins missed chances and just one goal. Do you know what I mean? Just a momentum swing. Someone who's clinical, someone who drags us back into the game. And like Jhon Duran did yesterday. Jhon Duran came on the pitch. He took an impossible chance and he brought us back into the game. He changed the game. He changed a moment. Ollie Watkins only ever tends to play well when everyone else is playing well, when we're steamrolling the game. So you don't really expect him to do anything just on his own or to bring us back in a bad moment. He kind of carries. You want a leader from the front. You want someone who is that kind of proven striker. And look, the question is, who comes in? I don't know. And if I did know, I'd go and be a scout for Villa, and that would be an easy job. Strikers are not easy to come by at the moment, and that I will give you as well. I'm not saying, oh, it's obvious that we can get a million options that are better than Ollie Watkins. All I'm saying is his record isn't good enough. His contribution to games isn't good enough. The number of chances he misses is absolutely obscene. His first touch is horrible. There's just so much about Ollie Watkins that leaves a lot to be desired. All I'm saying is I've recognised and I acknowledge every single time I watch us, Ollie Watkins frustrates me with the way he plays because I don't think he's good enough. He's not, and especially if we want to. Someone talked about winning a trophy this year or going on to compete in Europe. We can't do that without a striker, and I'm purposely blocking out the comments because I just wanted to get that out and just say that it's not an agenda against Ollie Watkins. It's just facts.
Look, it's one of those where you kind of think we've won a game, we've won 3-1, we're 7th in the table, and it's one of those where it's kind of, do you be slightly negative and make points? But it's all constructive criticism. Like you said, Sam, you've clarified the fact that you're not saying he's a bad player. You're not saying he's not helped us to get to where we are. It absolutely has. It's just, is there a conversation to be had whereby a player who has scored 1 goal in 12 Premier League games, who has done that previously, yes, he's gone on good runs, is that going to take us to those higher positions in the league? And it has to be said at this minute in time. No, people don't have an issue with saying that Leon Bailey is crap. People don't have a problem with saying, me included, Emi Buendia is crap. People don't have a problem with saying Matty Cash is crap. But as soon as you say Ollie Watkins isn't good enough, everyone goes up in arms. It's one.
I saw people criticizing Pau Torres. Criticizing Pau Torres. He got more passes into final third than any other player in any other game this weekend from centre back. But people are allowed to criticize him, and it's fine because he is a bit lightweight at the back. Everyone can have their opinions. And Gaz is comparing him to Haaland.
Look how much Mings got.
Yeah, I'm not saying he won't be a better player, but I'm just saying we've had Ollie Watkins for long enough to know what his pattern is. He's a purple patch player. He will go through a purple. He will get better. He will go on a scoring streak, but then he'll drop off again. And that's not the kind of consistency that you need at this level. Gaz, you can talk about Haaland missing 30 big chances. We got 46 goals in 40 games. He didn't get 1 goal in 12. So let's not compare Haaland and Ollie Watkins. All I'm saying is, I thought we should have done it in the summer, but come January, we need to go out. We need to find a striker. Keep Ollie Watkins. Keep him at the club. He fits. He serves a purpose, and I'm happy to have him here. He's a good lad. I'm happy to have him here. Go out and supplement him. You need to get a better striker and make Ollie compete, because at the moment there's almost no pressure. Someone said it earlier. Duran's not good enough to start, or he's too raw to start for Villa. Yeah, that's probably true. So what's our only option is to play a striker that isn't scoring. Someone tell me how that makes sense.
Gaz says nonsense. Watkins gets more stick than anyone apart from.
I don't think he does.
I think Leon Bailey is the one who gets most of the stick.
I think what
I put a message out saying, I'll put a slightly tongue-in-cheek message. The may your apology be as loud as your disrespect. And there's people still saying that he's shit. There's people saying that he's crap. So look, to me, Bailey gets the most criticism out of anyone. And look, you expect it with wingers, you expect it with strikers. They're the ones who get the big bills. They're the ones who are there to kind of win you the games, and I totally accept it. But it's you can't Leon Bailey, 100%. Yeah, of course. We love these discussions, and this is part of the reason why we love the comments. We read the comments. We have these discussions because this is what we are as a podcast.
I appreciate Gaz's position on it, and it's fine. I'm only saying what I see. I'm saying what I feel every single time I watch Villa, and the frustration that I feel when I watch him play. Gaz feels differently, and that's absolutely fine. We're here to, and that's what we love about this podcast is it's not one of them where everyone has the exact same opinion. Honestly, if you had George on right here, he'd be completely agreeing with Gaz, and he'd be saying, he'd be saying, no, Sam, you're absolutely wrong. I think Ollie Watkins is the dog's bollocks. He's the best striker in the world. He's the best striker we've ever had. Best striker that we've had in the Premier League. Fine. Absolutely fine. You're more than welcome to have that opinion. But I know that more and more, when I first had this opinion, I had almost no one on the same wavelength as me. And now, as we're getting further on into the season and further on from the back end of last season, I feel like more and more people are coming around and understanding what I'm coming you know, where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to say. So that's it. That's my piece. And like I say, it's my last for now piece on Watkins, but you know, is what it is.
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy New Year. Kev, Max, you've sat there very, very patiently while we've gone through all of the comments, and you know they're still coming in. But yeah, Kev, I'll come to you first. Have you got anything to add to this discussion on Watkins? I know, like, say you had a little comment, and I clipped it up, or Max clipped it up to go out on social media. And we really, you know, and I'm sure Sam wants him to do well. It's not that people don't want him to do well, and we wanted him to back him for to get a goal. And I'm sure he will get goals coming through. But anything you want to add to the Watkins discussion?
Nah, I know I do really. Sorry, I do really. Yeah, I think, you know, I'm pleased with Sam because, you know, everyone needs a good therapy session, even though it was just Sam talking. You know, it's good. It's good to talk. It's good to talk. You know, I mean, I think you should have been paid 300 quid for the hour to listen to that, but no. All jokes aside, I mean, I largely agree with Sam. I do, and I think Sam knows that I do. And we had a little chat pre-pod, and I was like, yeah, maybe I sort of like fanning out a little bit, you know, last week. But I'm looking at it as like, in a situation where it's all kind of going a bit wrong, you feel that's all you've got. You just got to hope, haven't you? You know, as your plane descends towards the ocean, you got to think, mate, the pilot's going to turn this around. He definitely is. Not, you're a prick, mate, for crashing the plane. You know, you've got to try and get behind your teammates. And I did think Crystal Palace at home, he's going to get his opportunity. As he went through from that back pass by Joel Ward, I thought, right, this is his chance. And then he took it like 10 yards too early, but maybe that's nerves, confidence. I don't know. Do I feel he's good enough do I feel he's good enough for us to where we want to get to ultimately? Not as the sole main striking option. I don't. I think there needs to be someone else, and that's probably why the Abraham links were there. Jonathan David links, you know, Dusan Vlahovic. There's all sorts of links, whether we get them or not. The argument about who else to replace with, I think isn't a great argument, because I tell you why. Why have we brought Monchi in? Why have we got Unai Emery if we can't attract players? That's the whole point of being the kind of club that we are. You know, who else are you going to get? Well, find someone. You know, find someone. So that doesn't bother me too much. He's the best we've got right now. Duran is not going to start, I don't think, in big games. And I do think he'll get goals. But, you know, and I think Watkins could still score 20 goals maybe in all comps this season. Because as Sam says, you know, he could easily go on a non-goal scoring run, but he could easily go on a scoring run. And last season, to give him credit, there were times in that sort of second half of the season when, you know, there was the Southampton away win when he got a goal, when, you know, really that game looked like it was going to be, you know, no result. He got a nerveless penalty to put us one up against Everton away, you know, and that, again, wasn't always his credit, but he smashed it in. You know, great goals, great finishes against Arsenal, Man City. You know, I think he did things last season. What I find with Watkins is he'll really surprise me. I think he's way worse than he is. And then he'll go on a run of performances when he'll be strong, he'll be holding it up. Rich, we've done a couple of pods on against Liverpool, post-Liverpool, where, you know, Van Dijk must hate playing against him because he's like knocking him about. But listen, I think that the key thing I'd say is, like, we want Villa to do well. And some people will be more loyal and loving of Ollie because of the things he has done, and maybe they're comparing it to what else is out there. By the way, the Tony comparison, if you look at actual like non-penalty goals, they both scored 14 goals last season.
Yeah, but you can actually score penalties, Kev.
No, I know.
Ollie Watkins was on penalties; he just missed them.
if you put penalties to one side, I'm just saying, like in terms of goals scored, I mean that equal, and he was top 7. So we all want Villa to do well. We all want Villa and we want to be the best team we can be. And by the way, I think it's a really good point, because I think Sam made. I think I lose my my dislike of Watkins when we're winning games. We beat Hibernian, but I feel like it's like about Luca Didi sometimes. Let's beat Hibs. We beat Burnley. We beat Everton. We beat Crystal Palace at the weekend. It's all fine. Who cares if 10 players are shit? Because, you know, Martinez has scored a hat-trick, you know, whatever. Duran scored a goal. But actually, if you to analyse it, maybe a goal in that first half against Newcastle does change it. And maybe if that Salah goals is given offside and then Watkins scores a chance, he won up against Liverpool rather than one down. I mean, there's all sorts of permutations. We all want Villa to do the best we can be, but unfortunately, we are where we are now until January. So I look at it and think, I just think we've got to get behind this situation, because I do wonder sometimes. We can talk about it, but once that pressure builds, I alluded to this earlier on. Like, if we had not beat Palace, because if it had been that what looked like was going to be a 1-0 smash and grab, I think there'd be a lot more heat now than it's out there. So, like, for the club to have a successful season, I just think we've got to stay positive, and maybe in the background we can talk about it clearly because we know that's our job to do it. Not paid, but that's our job to do it. But I really hope, I really hope we can get through because we're going to need him. We're going to need him this season.
Yeah, and the thing is, I keep all of this here. Like when I go to Villa Park, and I go and I sit in my seat every week, then I'm behind him.
You're not. You've got a Watkins. He's a prick flag. You hold out.
No. I'm not having that. Do you know what? Honestly,
5 people to hold it out. It's the biggest sign of the crowd.
I'm with him. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna boo him. I'm not gonna, But it's just after the game, you sit back and we literally have to analyze it. So we come on and talk about it, and it's just observation. But I'm with you. He's what we've got now until January, and he gets my backing, as in I'm willing him to do well. But I can't help.
Sam, he's probably what we got until summer.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely what we've got until January. Probably what we got until summer, and until then, I've got his back. I want him to score because I want Villa to win. I don't really care about Ollie Watkins personally. He's just a player to me who's either playing well or not playing well. I want Villa to do well. It's not like previously when you had Jack, and I personally was invested in him doing well. We've got a great team of players. I just want the best players on there playing well. So I'm not wishing. George said in a text to me, he's like, I almost feel like you want Watkins to do badly to prove your point. Absolutely not. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for him to go and get 20 goals this season. If he got 20 goals this season, everyone would be like, wow, Sam, you're wrong. There'd be no one happier than me because it means Villa have probably done something. So I can't lose either way. But yeah, let's see what he does. I'm with him. And I don't want to cloud, what a fantastic game it was yesterday, what a performance it was by loads of other players, and what a comeback it was. Something very rare that the fans don't get a lot. I don't want to always talk about Watkins, but whilst we're on the subject,
Well, look, he's a talking point, isn't it? And we've covered Bailey, we've covered Watkins. We'll round off the show because we've got 115 people watching, which is absolutely phenomenal. I'll come to you, Max, just to round off, not on Watkins, but one or two other little bits just to finish the show off. I hope that he takes kind of the Duran and the other players, the Zaniolos, the Diabys, as positive pressure, because he's got to have some pressure on him now. He's got to step up. Like, that's, if he wants to be a leader, if he wants to be a main senior player in the team, then step up when the pressure is on and the time is now to do it. Like, that's what you get paid the big bucks for, mate. That's if you want to go to a big club or you want to sign an improved deal with Villa, then sort it out, score, put your chances away. That's what you're paid to do. Do it. Like, in the words of Brian Clough, that's do your job. That's what you bloody get paid for. So do it. No more, no less. But Max, I guess for just to finish off, I think in terms of one or two other players that have had a discussion, I guess from a positive and a negative, Pau Torres, and also, as I said before, from a kind of real, I guess, in a midfield situation, the Kamara Tielemans kind of question. So yeah, let's start on Torres. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because for me, I think, the way that he allows us to control games, his passing, his progressive passing, I think he's outweighing that negative in terms of the physicality at the moment, and he's getting used to the Premier League and also playing with Konsa.
Well, no one, when he came in, no one thought he was going to be this big, like, offensively strong player. He's what he is. He's a ball playing centre back. He gets the ball and he I'm sorry. He takes the ball and he drives, he passes it forward like the on another day, Diaby's and his knees not extended and it's onside and it's 1-0, so, and he's got an assist. I think he's what he's there for. He's one of the best in the world at doing what he's doing in terms of passing out from the back. I think he got rinsed a bit for their goal, but a big striker, he just lost for pace. I mean, it's not anything really he can do about it. And then Martinez slips and it's 1-0. I think personally he was really good, and I don't really understand the criticism of him, to be honest, because he's been chucked in to not only a league he hasn't played for, but a country that he's never played in before, and I think he's been, other than the mistake against Liverpool was a bit of a moment, but other than that, I think he's been basically what I thought he was going to be, and I think he's been really good.
Yeah. Gaz said he's meant to play with Mings. His ball for Diaby was superb. Oh no, his ball for Diaby was superb. Absolutely. Alfie said Parry's our best defender that is fit at the minute. Duncan said Torres class defender. Michael says Parry's class. Gary said Torres was fine, but Palace didn't pressure him. Do you feel like, Kev, that he'll be just getting used to the Premier League, and the more games that he plays, the better he will get?
100%, yeah. I mean, he's been thrown the deep end, let's be clear. Like, there's been a litany of examples that, you could give for players in the Premier League and before that era that come to the league, whether they're a young player, an experienced player, and can take time to get up to speed, but particularly overseas players do. And he wouldn't look at Cristiano Ronaldo, probably one of the greatest players of all time, top 5 all time, top 3 maybe, who struggled at first. Plenty of players have been like that. Salah, when he was young, didn't really do great things at Chelsea. De Bruyne, I mean, I know maybe younger examples, but you get my point. It takes time. It's a fast league, the Premier League. It's quicker, obviously, than La Liga, and he was supposed to be that player alongside that big bustling, hero that we've got in Tyrone Mings. So it would be hard for him. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a really good player. I think he gets found out. I think the problem with him sometimes has been the high line. I think for the whole thing that we do against those kind of teams, our structure. Gareth and I talked about it on the Talking Tactics podcast. While you were sunning yourself in Mexico, Rich, and for those who haven't seen it, they were great the last 2 weeks. They weren't too good before, but the last 2 were brilliant.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, no,
phenomenal.
All jokes aside, but that high line, he kills us away from home, and if you're not blessed with pace as a defender, I think we're going to get found out. But I mean, the pass for the goal for Diaby was absolutely sublime. And those stats about how much he's been passing out and like the best over the weekend, he's so comfortable on the ball. He's so intelligent. Amount of times I'm begging our centre halves over the years. I mentioned this time and time again on the podcast in the past. Play a diagonal pass to whoever it was at the time. Currently Dina and obviously Cash. And we're seeing that a lot more now. We're even seeing Konza do it a bit more. We've seen Mings do it more last season. So that's clearly a style of play, but it really speeds the game on when you're doing that kind of thing and creates chances. So, I'm Team Torres. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good. And finally, getting comments on Tielemans. A few people saying thoughts on Tielemans yesterday. And I guess off the back of his comments in the week and being interviewed, obviously he put a great ball in for Watkins to get the penalty. He kind of had the assist before the assist at the end for playing the ball through to Diaby. Again, I know, Max, you had a couple of comments on Tielemans, but I'll come to you, Sam, first. I mean, is it a case of just sort of wait and see with Tielemans? I know in pre-season he was fantastic in a number of games, or do you think he's kind of done enough now to get a start over, say, a Kamara, for example?
Oh, I'll tell you another thing that annoys me about Watkins. I'm joking. No, I like
Very
Tielemans.
good.
I like Tielemans. I get it. I understand why some people have their issues with him. Maybe he's not like the most hard-working player, but he's got some real quality. Like at his feet, he's kind of Douglas Luiz is a really, really good pass. Like he's just good at spraying the ball around. He never loses it. He's very sure, and not just like sideways passing, but he can drive and turn. Like he's really good. But Tielemans is just a little bit better at those kind of like those cutting balls in. It's just like finding that line. And like you say, he played the ball in through to Ollie, played the ball to Diaby before the Bailey goal. These are important moments, and I feel like he has a place and he has a purpose, and maybe he needs to improve at some other things that he didn't really have to do at Leicester because he was so good. He was just he just did what he did, but then he needs to improve his game. But I love Tielemans as a signing. I like him as a player. I think, maybe in games like against Palace, where we're going to have, what did we have, 65 to 70% of possession, I wouldn't mind kind of letting Kamara sit that one out when we're not going to be doing as much defending, and give Tielemans kind of reign to no, do you know what? Gaz, me and you outside. No, I like him, and I think that in those kind of games where we're going to have most of the ball, and like Kev said right at the start, we're going to have to break teams down. I like the idea of bringing in Tielemans alongside Douglas Luiz to start picking those holes and moving things a bit quicker than Kamara does.
Yeah, yeah. And Max, you were kind of slightly critical of Tielemans when he first came on yesterday. Maybe took his time to get up to the pace of the game, etc., etc. But yeah, I guess a couple of influential passes. But are you kind of waiting to see a little bit more from him? I would say.
Yeah, well, that's basically the same thing as Sam said in terms of the sign. As a signing, I really like it. I always thought he was really good at Leicester. I think there is a good player there, but he just seemed to. I don't know if it's he's trying to do too much. Maybe he kind of ran down cul-de-sacs a lot. He was kind of getting pickpocketed and was slow to get back up to chase back and stuff like that. It was just a bit. I don't know if it's because he's trying things that just aren't coming off. Maybe it's just like he's trying to make those incisive passes, which he got the two that were game winners in the end. I think unless he's trying that too much, maybe and it's just because he's not playing the minutes, he's taking time to get up to speed. I don't know if it feels like I'm alone in it, but I still think Kamara's been really good. I don't think he's been as half as bad as people have seemed to suggest he has been. I think he does. He's not celebrating the goal. I don't personally.
No,
think
I'm not going to read anything into that. Really. Absolutely not.
Yeah. And then I think, especially I think yesterday was for what he does. I don't know what he's because he also makes it possible for Digne and for Cash to be in positions where they are, especially Cash, because a lot of the time Kamara's sitting in a back three with the centre back.
Well, that's what Emery said yesterday, didn't he? He said they've been trying that with Kamara dropping into the central defence to make a back three, and he has obviously got he's obviously used to that because he has played as centre back before. So yeah, no, I've never disputed the fact that Kamara's not a fantastic footballer. I just wish he'd put a little bit more meat on the bones.
Yeah, I think he's another one on a free, and I think if we bought him for, I don't know how true what I'm going to say is, but like in terms of, I think if we bought him for 40 million quid last year, I think people's perception might be different because I think we would now if he'd been playing like he is for us at a different club, I think we'd have no chance of signing him. I think he'd be going off to Man City to be Rodri replacement, that kind of. I think he'd be that kind of player. I just think for where we are, like Sam saying, with Watkins probably not being where we are at the minute, but for where we want to be going, I think Kamara is one of the best players we're going to find.
Fair point. Last little mention on another player, Ezri Konsa. He always seems to go like not unmentioned. And I know Sam, you wanted to kind of maybe praise him a little bit in terms of his contribution, and still not in the England squad. I don't know why he doesn't choose Portugal, to be fair, but yeah, I mean, I guess he's kind of Villa's Mr. Consistent, I would say.
Yeah, I think he's played or started, or was it 41 games on the bounce? I heard in the commentary or something yesterday. He's brilliant. I just wanted to point it out. He's always been a Rolls Royce of a player. I know when we had that kind of sticky Steven Gerrard period, he lost his touch a bit, he lost his flair, but he's just, Mings getting injured could have been so catastrophic for Villa, and Ezri's just kind of stepped up, and he's kind of shoring up Pau Torres where maybe he kind of lacks. I think people don't notice how many times maybe like Pau Torres is kind of caught out by the speed of the Premier League, and Ezri Konsa just comes over and covers, and he's just kind of looking after his centre back partner, and I just think he's brilliant. And not only that, he allows Matty Cash to get forward, and Matty Cash has been getting into some really brilliant positions up the field this season. And maybe on another podcast we talk about that. But I think Konsa is just so classy because he covers that right back position, he covers his centre back, and also his mate on his left, and he's just brilliant. And I don't think it can. I personally, I don't even know what number you would put on Ezri Konsa if we were to sell him, but. For me,
someone in the chat said 75 million or something.
I was going to say, I'd say I wanted to get rid of him for anything less than 50. I think he's an absolute gem in this Villa squad and has been for a long time. So absolutely love him. A Rolls Royce of a player, and hope he continues it.
Class. Boys, what a show, lads! What a show! Over 100 people in the chat watching at 11:10. Phenomenal stuff, and it's always great to talk about a win a comeback win at that. And yeah, we've covered all sorts. Players who aren't quite there, players who are there, inspirational players. Yeah, just and we've still got people disagreeing in the chat, which is great.
Guess, is it just Gaz? You know, the way I feel about Watkins, Gaz feels about me.
Yeah,
Tell everyone knows that I'm a terrible pundit of Villa. Yeah,
but go on. Sorry, mate.
And I was just going to say all the best, Gaz, mate.
I'm
going to be in his nightmares today.
But yeah, a fantastic show, and we love the comments. That's why we read so many out. We love to cause debate. We love the opinions, and that's what it is all about. Like we've all got opinions, and we all love Villa. At the end of the day, we all want the players to do well. It's just we sometimes have a different view on it, and between the four of us on this chat, between the guys on in Villa Park Pod, between all you guys watching, it's great to have these disagreements, but also come from the fact that we love Villa. So thank you all for watching. There is loads of content coming up for the week. We're going to do some of the points that the questions and stuff that have been raised today. We are going to do a separate show every week for a fans forum that will cover, one or two other things, whether that be the women's team, whether that be, things around the club, because there's lots of things off the pitch that aren't going as well as they are on the pitch. We'll cover youth team, we'll cover loan players, and it'll be, you guys having your say. So that'll be tomorrow at 10. So do get any questions, any talking points that you want to bring up on the fans forum ready for tomorrow. We'll be doing talking tactics with Gareth. Will be coming up this week. We've got match preview for Legia Warsaw. Proper Conference League starts this week. We've got match reaction to that game. We've got match preview for Chelsea. So much stuff coming up. So do stick with the channel. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Help us on the road to 3K. But lads, as I say, thank you so much. Thank you for all of you in the chat. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.